Hey guys, what's up and welcome to another video. Today we're going to talk about learning the hard way here in Japan. Alright, so today I want to talk about mainly 3 instances since I've been living here in Japan where I've either really messed up or had to learn the hard way, just made a silly mistake that I could have just thought about for 5 seconds and realized it wasn't the right decision, or just embarrassing things that have happened here in Japan where I've had to learn things the hard way. Now, obviously, your experiences are going to vary if you're visiting here in Japan or if you're moving to Japan, depending on what cultures you're from, how you were brought up, and all these types of variables, I guess, all kind of like smash into one. So don't take my experience as sound, what's the word I'm looking for? Advice. Because obviously everyone's experience is going to vary, as I just said. So take it with a grain of salt. Now, these are 3 personal experiences and stories that have happened to me here. You guys may have noticed that previously I put out a video, if you guys had seen it, where it was talking about, real toge street drifting in Japan. And I really from the start of my channel, I was always like, no, I don't want to show this on my channel. I don't want to upset the wrong or the right people and that type of thing, right? But the more and more as my channel progressed and the more and more I started kind of discovering my audience, I really realized that they really wanted to see that kind of thing, as well as I really had this desire that I wanted to show them that side of the car culture and car community here in Japan. Now, I thought it would be okay if I was able to make a video about it in that aspect of just, hey, this is the culture and things like that. Obviously, I wouldn't be going and doing anything illegal. I would just go with some friends out there. They would introduce me to their friends that are involved in the activity. And, I would, film them. If I got to do some passenger runs to film as well, that would be cool. And just kind of give you guys a glimpse of that, as well as keeping everyone's identity and stuff like that a secret, like blurring faces, number plates, and just triple checking with everyone that was there, that I was filming, that they knew I was filming and it was going on YouTube, but I was going to keep their identity a secret and all that type of stuff. So I made sure I was really careful, and I thought I was doing something okay. I thought it was going to be fine that I would do that because, there was no way anyone could be identified. I didn't tell anyone where the location was. All I said was it was somewhere in Japan. And I really thought that would be okay. And I was really happy with the final product, how it turned out. And I was really excited to show my audience, my subscribers or you guys that watch my channel, this content, because I was like, man, this is so important. I want you guys to see this as well. So, maybe some people could get inspired by it or really understand that side of the culture and stuff like that. And just kind of a glimpse of literally what you see in Initial D. And I uploaded the video and man, it was trending so good. I've never seen one of my videos do so well in the first few hours. And I say the first few hours because I don't really want to say his name, but you guys can probably gather who it was that called me and said that I needed to take the video down. But obviously he's a mentor, and he's spending a lot of time teaching me and training me and stuff to get into D1 level for Formula Drift and things like that, right? Anyways, so got a call from him and he was like, Sam, you got to take that video down. Absolutely, no, you cannot upload that. Zettai muri, kind of in Japanese, that's absolutely no. And because this person knows he's kind of a mentor to me in this area, so he was very strict and scolding me about it. And from my perspective, I'm like, oh, maybe he hasn't even watched the video and he thinks I'm the one driving, which of course I would never drive in the mountains like that. One, that to begin with, and 2, filming it as well, myself committing a crime, that's just ridiculous. I'd never do that, right? Because I don't want my reputation tarnished. But anyways, we'll get to that in a second. Anyways, I was, and I said to him, I was like, oh, I don't understand. Have you watched the video? Because I'm not driving, and I kept the identity, the location, and all this stuff a secret, and I blurred everything, and I was pretty positive that it was still going to be okay to keep this video up. I saw no problem with this video being up and live, and he told me back and he said, absolutely no. It doesn't matter if you blur any of that. It doesn't matter if you're just sitting in the passenger seat. That's illegal here in Japan. And I was literally at that point, I was like, okay, that I did not know. And I probably should have checked that. But even then, what he was saying was that the actual fact of anything illegal, like that's a traffic violation or something illegal that you're doing on the road, if there's any video footage of that, or if you are associated to it in any way through friends, or there's any social media or any media in general, just anywhere out there that has anything to do with you associated with that, whether you're just talking about it or anything like that, like even probably now me talking about this, I'm not showing any footage, so it's probably okay, but just talking about this is kind of a little bit risky. But in Japan, it is such a taboo thing that any company, if they heard anything about it, saw anything about it, they would never ever do any sponsorship deals with you. They would never take you professionally, and you would have just heaps of problems ever getting into the professional motorsport. Now, when he said that, and then he goes on to say as well, you're someone that I've got pictures of you on my social media and saying that I'm teaching you and I'm spending all this time with you. And then, all these other people that are trying to get to that level in the sport as well that are your friends. And, if it comes out that you're involved in that activity, they all go down with you as well. And you see, I had no idea that this was just such a big deal here in Japan. In Australia, people don't really care about that. People upload videos all the time, sharing that kind of subculture stuff and, keeping people's identities a secret, blurring locations and all that stuff not told. And no one really cares and nothing really happens about it. The police generally can't do anything about it as well because there's all these privacy laws and stuff, and they can't use video footage from things like that because they physically weren't there. There to film it. It can't be used as evidence. And anyways, there's all these loopholes and stuff like that. So no one really does anything about it, right? Anyways, in Japan, it's just a completely different story. So, I really never actually thought about that, and I never did any research about that. And I just assumed that it would be the same here. And that's absolutely not true at all. And I couldn't take down that video faster when I actually understood just how massive of a taboo this thing is here in Japan and how much of a great effect it would have on all the people around me, my friends and my loved ones. So, I guess I came away from that feeling very selfish and like, man, what was I thinking? So anyways, I hope that gives you a really good explanation why that video got taken down and why I'll never put up that content again. And I'm sure you guys will understand where I'm coming from. Now, let's move on to the next two things. That was a big one. I hope you managed to stay while I was talking about that for so long. Okay, so the next thing I want to talk about is when you start learning a little bit of Japanese and stuff, you start getting a little bit confident, right? And after a while, you start asking people is it okay if I keep doing this? Or is it okay? Are you okay? Did I upset you? And you start to really understand people here in Japan that they wear a mask, right? And they will say, oh yeah, daijoubu, no problem, and smile, right? And daijoubu just means no problem, no worries, or it's okay. And, and they'll be smiling and everything. So you can initially think that everything's okay. The moment you turn away and walk around, they're actually really angry at you, they're really upset, and they never actually told you that you did something wrong to offend them. And you could keep going back and doing the same thing and not even know, being sarcastic, making some jokes and things like that. And you wouldn't even know that this entire time that you've been upsetting them and they've been really upset by you. And so my best advice to you in these situations, now luckily I don't think I've lost any friends or anything like that. I picked up on this pretty early thanks to some amazing advice from my other friends here that are bilingual and obviously my wife. And, it was very difficult initially because, you need to get really close. I'm not talking not just normal friend status. You need to get really in there, friendship, bromance level to really know if, for them to break out of their shell and drop that mask so that they can actually be emotional and real with you. So just a little bit of advice there. Just be super careful and make sure that you've really built a solid relationship before you start throwing some sarcasm and some jokes and things like that in there. And as well, just be super cautious about, anything that you do where you potentially might upset someone. Just don't even bother trying to do it because, like I said, you're going to ask if someone's okay or you're going to apologize and you're going to check that everything's okay and whatnot, but in reality, it's not. So, bit of advice there. Just be super, super cautious, super careful, and just, wait till you get to that inner kind of deeper level of friendship with them. I know this kind of seems weird, but it's a fact. They wear a mask and it takes you a long time to break through that so that they can drop it and they can be real with you, all right? So solid bit of advice there. Now that's a quick one. We can move that one out. Okay, so the final third thing that I want to talk about is kind of funny and embarrassing, and it kind of ties in with the same thing. Like, once you start learning some Japanese, you start getting a bit confident, right? And I think just with anything, right, it's really bad to get overconfident. And as you start learning the language and you're like starting thinking like, yeah, I can just really like pick up words really quick, start saying them faster without really thinking about the pronunciation first. And you can say some pretty inappropriate things by accident, simply innocently by accident. So here's a perfect example. This is a true story. This is what happened to me. And I'm going to go through and list a few instances that this happened. And I'm going to try and keep this clean as possible. But in Japanese, like when you say you've got a drink and you want another refill, you want another one, you say, mo ippai onegai shimasu, which means like, can I have another one, or can you give me another one of these type of thing, right? And normally you point at your cup or you hold your cup up kind of thing, right? And the way it's structured is if we look at this, it's mo, so M-O, and then ippai, E-P-P-I-A, onegai shimasu. Sorry, I got my pronunciation wrong there. And when I say that really quickly, or I just think about it in my head, I see, that in my head, right? And I accidentally said mo oppai onegai shimasu, which pretty much means more boobs, please. And I said that to a female waitress. And the look she gave me, and at first, I didn't even realize I said it. And I had a whole bunch of friends with me at the table, and they've just gone, what did you just say? Like what? And I'm sitting there going, oh, what do you mean? Like, mo oppai onegai shimasu. I had been saying this for weeks. Weeks. I had been saying this to waiters, females, males, and no one ever corrected me. I must have been they must have all been going out the back and saying, you gotta believe, this foreigner just literally asked me for more boobs, please. Anyway, so that was quite embarrassing. Another story is, another very similar thing, right? In Japan, a microwave is called a ching, right? C-H-I-N-G, I guess is the best way to think of it. Like ching, like the noise it makes when it's finished. There's another word in Japanese that's quite similar to that means the male sex organ, right? So we were in this takoyaki kind of bar place, which is those octopus balls, and it's just very chill, and we were friends with the owner of the place, and there was this a couple staff members there and everything serving, and I asked him to just reheat something in the microwave or something like that. I can't remember what it was, but there was something we had been eating, and I was like, I'll just throw it in the microwave and heat it up a little bit. But in I'm trying to say in Japanese the microwave, and I thought it would be kind of cool to just say ching ching twice, but I wasn't pronouncing the ng at the end, and I was saying chin chin, and that those two words together means a penis essentially. And that once again, my wife was actually there, and she was like, what did you just say? And I'm just sitting there chin chin, and you just kept saying it, and then I realized what it was, and it was a very embarrassing moment for me. So, there are these things like that where you're literally if I just slowed myself down and wasn't overconfident, and I would have been okay. It gets worse. I did the same thing, but for the for the female sex organ. And I'm not going to repeat the word because it's actually a very, very, it's like saying the C word, right? In Japanese. That's how kind of, rude that type of word is here in Japan. And I accidentally said that instead of saying, I think I meant to say domo, which means thanks. But somehow I was thinking about some other word in English in my head, and I ended up accidentally saying this other word that means the C word. So that was a very embarrassing situation as well. And once again, luckily my wife was there, so she was able to say, I'm very sorry, and I'm sitting there freaking out because I actually knew the word, and I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I just accidentally said that. So it was a very embarrassing situation. But, these things happen, so... it's always something you're going to experience when you go to a new country, I feel. And I wish you all the very best if you come out here. I'm sure everyone who's a foreigner that's moved to Japan to learn the language and stuff like that has funny stories like that. I still think my favorite one is accidentally telling the female waitress, like I was doing this for weeks, man. I was saying mo oppai onegai shimasu, which literally just means more boobs, please. I was literally just saying, holding up my glass and saying, more boobs, please. Anyways, that's my stories. Those are the three main things that I learned the hard way here in Japan. I hope you don't have to, but I'm sure you will, because when you're in some environment that's new to you, you're always bound to make mistakes and learn things the hard way. And generally, if you learn things the hard way, you learn them much quicker than any other way. So it's generally a good thing. It's like being thrown in the deep end. All right, that's it. And I really hope you enjoyed this video. It's been a whole bunch of fun kind of reliving all of that. But anyways, guys, before I go, make sure you check out my social media down in the description. I just started a Twitch account, which I'm super pumped about. I've already done a few live streams on there. We worked on the car. I did a Sakura cherry blossom tour under Tokyo Tower, which is heaps of fun. And then I did some PUBG stuff. So, you know, for those of you that are already there following me, thank you so much. We're trying to reach affiliate this, within the next month. So I need at least 50 followers for that. So if you have a Twitch account and you're interested in that, head on over, hit the follow button. I'm super pumped about the future there and what we're going to do there. We're obviously going to be doing some drifting live streams and more car related stuff, Daikoku live streams, car meets, and all that type of stuff. It's going to be great. And then as well, I finally got a PO box set up. So if you want to send me any slap stickers to slap on the car, please do. I'll gladly put them on. Just keep them PG. And as well as if you want to send me anything else, I'm going to do mail time videos. So anything that's more suited for that, please send me stuff and I'll be glad, more than happy to show that on camera. But if anything isn't appropriate, I will blur it. Anyways, that's it for me. Thanks heaps for watching, guys. Make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe. And I'll catch you on the next one. Ja mata ne.